Good morning. Hopefully, everyone can hear me. Thank you. It's like I was trying to get some feedback. Thank you for typing in. Thank you, Corey. Thank you, James. Well, let's see if I can. I'll show more information. Okay. Well, welcome to the Degreeworks Roundtable. And we are the first session of today. So thank you for bearing with the technical issues that we might have had at the moment. So let me see. I'm going to pop over here and see who is. Oh, okay, Kate. Hi, Annalisa.
Hi, I am so sorry. This is the very first session. So, Barbara, I meant to introduce you.
Okay.
So, I apologize for the technical difficulties in the very beginning. This is our very first session of the very first time we've done a virtual conference. So, and I do have Barbara Long here. She's been a longtime employee of West Virginia Net and is actually our Degreeworks lead. So, thank you, Barbara, for letting me introduce you, and apologize for the delay.
Oh, no problem. It wouldn't be a Monday if we didn't experience issues. You know, it would be something would be wrong with the world if that did not occur. So I just popped over to see who, luckily within this platform, I can see who's logged in, who's attending at the moment. So again, thank you for attending, getting up and breaking away from all those Monday morning fires that you have to deal with. Thank you very much for doing that. As I said, this is the Degreeworks Roundtable. We have a little bit of an agenda. There's some topics that we'd like to kind of address. And those are updates, updates, and updates. It seems like that's what we have been doing for so long, trying for our hosted website, for our hosted schools. We've been trying to get up from the 416 environment or even 414 and trying to make it up to the 5X environment, at least minimum of 502 to 503. We do have a few schools in production with the 5X environment. And we're bringing on more schools as we talk. We're trying to schedule. But I would suggest if you don't have a production site yet for our hosted schools, I would recommend trying as much as possible getting into that test environment and testing. And it makes it really beneficial when we go to production that you have tested your links and test. You know what the applications look like. We can answer some of your questions before we go live in your production. And one of the things I would recommend that we found that's very useful is before we upgrade your production environment, if you can take some screenshots or print off some audits of students and have that so that when we do take up your production environment, that you have a reference point. You saw what the audits contained in the 4X environment before we go to your 5X. So I've been talking for some time. So if there are any questions out there, pop over here to the because this is a roundtable, so I want input from everybody who's participating today. So you can do it in the chat if you have questions about our upgrades. Okay, I'll just continue on going here. One of the things that we found that has been taking some time besides just doing the physical upgrading of the software is the single sign-on has changed within the 5X environment. Before, the sign-on to log into Degreeworks was through self-service banner 8. There usually was a link one for students and then one for faculty, depending upon what role you had at your institution. You would click on that link and it would do the authentication behind the scenes, and you would be dropped right into Degreeworks. If you had an account, if you were a student, you actually had an audit in Degreeworks, it would pop you over and you would just see your audit. If you were a faculty member, if you're a faculty member, depending upon if you had access to all students or just to your advisees, you would be popped into Degreeworks. And if you only had your advisees, you would have a list of your advisees, and that's all the audits you could see. Now, if you had access to all students in Degreeworks as an advisor, you could search for any student. And that's how it worked in the pre-5X environment. Now, with going to the 5X environment, it changes a little bit. We're promoting the responsive dashboard. And the responsive dashboard is more user-friendly, more ADA compliant. And we do have the classic dashboard is still there behind the scenes, but Ellucian is making all efforts, and going forth, that's the layout that you're going to be seeing is the responsive dashboard. So we decided that's what we're going to support going forth. And the authentication now has to go through, if you have a CAS server or LDAP, an Active Directory. So with that single sign-on now, you can have it just as a simple link on your website for the responsive dashboard. And it makes that connection to the Active Directory CAS server. And it does the authentication. So the student will log into the link, it'll do the authentication and pop them into the responsive dashboard. Okay, and as James is saying, so Annalisa, I was wondering, can we actually bring in an actually other user? Can we have them actually, instead of doing the chat, could they pop in and say a few words? And how do we do that, Annalisa?
We could send them an invite, or they can just pop in. Once the session is live, anybody can just log or just click on the link and come on in. And then if they request, if you want them to come in to moderate, I'll have to add them.
Okay.
That might take a few more minutes.
Okay. Well, would like to have James Falver just pop in because he's from Bridge Valley. And he's one of our hosted institutions that are live in production, and he can share his experiences with the user feedback that he's received so far. So can we have magic done behind the scenes?
Yeah, I'm inviting him right now.
Okay. The wonders of technology.
Oh, wait.
I think you can just ask to share audio and video, and you can approve him in the session right there.
Yep. Yeah, because I'm inviting him to a private meeting, and I don't think he wants to do that.
No, private meeting means like you met in the parking lot, you know.
Right. I'm sorry, James. Yeah, he just has to ask to moderate it, and then and I can accept it.
Okay.
You would just ask to share his audio.
Yeah.
Annalisa, if you can, we can hear Barb through this call. I don't know if you got her on speaker.
And we can hear a little bit of you, Corey, going back with Annalisa just a little bit. Your audio is fading in and out. We're seeing behind the scenes. It's like the Wizard of Oz. We're pulling back the curtain for everyone.
And behind the curtain.
Yep, just wait down. Once James hits that little share audio and video, I will accept it.
Now, I think, a lot of individuals have asked us from our hosted schools, well, why so long with the upgrade? The 5X environment, the 5X versions have been out for some time. Well, it comes down to the fact that the 416 that we were on most of our hosted schools, that was a very stable release. We had gone through all those growing pains when we first implemented Degreeworks back in the 2012, 2013, 14 timeframe. And we had a lot of growing pains. We had got to the 416, and it was very stable. It was a very good release. Honestly, if it wasn't for the fact that one of the major components of Degreeworks, the short code and the SHEP entry, relied on the Adobe Flash, and Adobe Flash had dropped its support at the end of December, January, we would still be on the 416, and we'd still be promoting the 416 release because it was so stable. Going into the 5X, we waited until Ellucian had a version that was somewhat stable. The 5.0 and the 5.1 were had a lot of defects. So we waited till the 5.02 came out. And then we have some schools, I say, are on the 5.03. We waited until those versions. And then the next leap, after we have everybody in production on the 5X environment and stable, is that we'll circle back to the test environments and we'll start going to the 5.05 release. We're skipping the 5.04 because that was a very buggy release. And so we're leapfrogging. And that's what the approach we've been trying to do is to minimize those upgrades that we view and we've heard from Ellucian are very buggy, and try to stay as stable as possible before we make an next upgrade. And that's why we've taken that kind of conservative approach to some of these upgrade schedule that we have. So I assume that, Annalisa, you have done all the magic behind the scenes, and James can pop in now and we can hear his, can we? Or we still are at that point that, oh, says that you can't find any devices. Oh, that's unfortunate. Okay. Annalisa, any insight into why a participant can't share his audio? And I think I've lost Annalisa now.
I'm here.
Okay.
I was listening to the reply for yeah, he's got other devices in use from what I understand, but we do have Brian in here and he's our main hopping guy, so hopefully he can help him out. No, it says he doesn't, so let's see if maybe Brian can figure out what's going on.
Okay. Well, I've talked about, Buzz, we wait for James to be able to chime in and talk about his upgrade and testing experiences. I'll pop over to another topic. I want to, and I don't even know. Let's see. I was trying to see what my agenda was. Okay. Let's see. Go back. Don't want to lose myself. One of the things I want to remind people that, and I highly recommend it, and I know budgets are tight, and we're still, getting out of the pandemic, but Ellucian Live, their annual conference, which it starts with the Degreeworks Forum, and then it moves into their actual main banner Ellucian product conference. They're going to bring it back in person next year. It's going to be in, I'm popping over here. It's going to be in Denver, Colorado. It's going to be April the 10th through the 13th of next year. Just like to put a shout out there, if all possible. It's a great, if you cannot attend the whole Degreeworks forum and then the additional eLive conference, which extends it, I would say just focus on the Degreeworks forum. It is a 2.5. Okay, those are a 2.5 day event that covers so much. You get some hands-on experience. They have demo sessions where you can see the latest version or the kind of beta version of Degreeworks, which is great. It's a great opportunity for networking. You actually meet the people that actually are working on developing the product and hearing from them in person. And it's just one of those events that you gotta get a sneak peek of Degreeworks. And it's just basically that's all they do for 2.5 days is just Degreeworks. So again, I would recommend if you could possibly put that in your budget and ask for that, I'd highly recommend that to go to that event. Okay, Brian is working with James here. He's trying to determine why he can't share his audio. Another thing that if you can't, again, it's pricey. You would have to be traveling. If you're still, the budget's not there. Another event that I highly recommend, and we'll be sending it out to the Degreeworks listserv when we get more information, is the Cohesion user conference, which is it's gonna be virtual again this year, and that's in October. And they do have that is more of it's no sales pitches. It is basically the users. It's driven by the user community. They have Banner, they have Degreeworks, and they usually are more, you get a little bit of a sense of, you can get a one-on-one, a little bit more of a networking, since it is a smaller event. Again, it's going to be virtual, and it's more cost-effective too. Their conference fees, they understand that, they're dealing with the user community. So they try to keep it more reasonable. So we'll provide more information as that gets more details, what we find out, we'll send that out to the listserv and we'll share that with individuals. One of the things that we learned last year from the Cohesion user conference was how important, as James had said in the chat, testing. And it's more than just logging in to the Degreeworks different applications. We have Controller, we have, now we have Composer and Transit's on the web-based. It is more for those localizations. We have a lot, you were so accustomed to localizations that with the responsive dashboard, Ellucian is more trying to get it more streamlined. So some of those localizations that you were accustomed to, they can't be brought over to the responsive dashboard, unfortunately. So now it is, and it's basically because it's more mobile friendly. It's ADA compliant. And honestly, Ellucian forgot how important it was for some localizations. And I think we have a visitor from Mars who's shown up here.
Yay!
Yeah, it feels like it sometimes. Technology sucks.
Again, it's a part of Monday mornings. So,
Yeah.
And I've been rattling on and going off. Let's go back to how, James, your experience with the 5X environment.
5X is pretty sweet. Our plan is to roll it out to both faculty and students completely when they come back to school this coming August. I have a group of about a dozen staff and faculty, some power users on the classic version have been using the responsive dashboard this summer. Actually, as I have faculty forget their password to the classic version, I'm just going ahead and giving them the responsive link so that they can use their single sign-on to get into it, and they love it. They're talking about how responsive is a lot easier to use than what the classic is. The one thing I like is about controller is the fact that I can actually easily add new accounts, especially advisors. We don't have the advisors automatically updated from Banner over to Degreeworks, just because we have some old historical information in there that I just don't want all those old advisors to be moved over. So that way, we have a little bit more control of who the advisors are. Plus, our freshman advising center, we allow them to have access to, and they're truly not faculty advisors, but they're professional advisors. So I love it. The single sign-on, when working with our IT department, it works pretty sweet. I mean, if you're already logged into your Active Directory once, it takes you in. If not, just put in your AD username password in, pretty slick.
And James, your AD is set up through, you have, we're doing two things. We're tying into the EIS authentication that he already had for administrative Banner.
Yes.
You also have an additional layer you have going through like Microsoft Azure.
Azure, yes. That is how we've actually put our Active Directory out onto the cloud, so that actually it goes through Azure. Adam has set that up. Where we have two different campuses, we're on South Charleston, Montgomery. We did have an instance one time that the network went down here in Montgomery to the outside world, so my Banner people couldn't get on, even if we couldn't get on from here. And actually, they couldn't actually go home and authenticate either, because actually the authentication went down. So they couldn't even work from home, because by then we were already authenticating through Active Directory. So Adam then moved it to the web. So that way, if we were to go down on either campus, they could go home and still be able to work like we've done during the pandemic.
Okay. Now, the one thing that I think a lot of people get scared, they're thinking, does everything with Degreeworks have to go through authentication, through single sign-on? And you're just doing the responsive dashboard.
Exactly. Controller, scribe, transit, no, that is not going through authentication, because there's only 2 to 3 people who have access to use it. So there's no need to force them to authenticate that way. So I made the decision, no, composer, controller, scribe, and transit, those are all just straight logging in with your Degreeworks username and password.
Now, did you have, James, did you have much difficulty setting up those accounts in Active Directory to,
No, I mean, like I said, I work with Adam, who does the Active Directory side of the house. He's very quick on getting those set up for us, for external people. Now, currently, for students, and students have their own, mine just went blank. Currently, we have students already in our Active Directory system also. It's an automatic process that talks between Banner and Adam's side of the house that does the extracts out of Banner daily, so Adam can create the new usernames and the temporary passwords. So, I mean, the setup is very, very minimal.
Now, you did have to make sure that all your users, you're using like the third party yes. ID. So all your users had to be in Banner on the one, as everybody knows now, if they've worked with Banner 9 and admin, that you had to add people to the famous table of GUI
map, yeah. GUI map. Yes. Actually, yes. I mean, that was one of the things when we originally set up, as you remember, Barb, we were part of Bridgemont, we were part of Group 1, Cohort 1, when we brought up Degreeworks in the beginning. So we did not set it up that we were pulling third-party ID out of Banner into Degreeworks that way. We're actually using their student ID. So that was one of the things we had to switch that coding, working with you, switching that coding to pull the correct third-party ID over. And then, of course, you had to do all those updates to make it work. But no, currently right now with the move to SSB 9, yes, we already have a process set up that I think every 15 minutes I update the GUI map table with new students. So, and plus as I add advisors and new staff, I put that in there. I mean, it's been fun. I mean, like I said, originally I put in the discussion, testing is important, but also is very important is whenever Barb moves you from the test system to the production system, is to actually pay attention to the tickets as she's doing it, because as she would do something, she would update the ticket. Hey, can you test this? So I mean, that actually helped her, through this process, and that helped me too, because that way I was seeing what was going on, and then if we did run into a problem, we caught it then, not waiting until everything else was migrated over. So I mean, it's hand in hand. I mean, Barb's got a lot of work to do, but as an end user, you need to be there too, to help her, to support her in testing as she's going through the move to production.
Well, thank you, James, for that. And I think that is also that we can apply that to any of the work that we do with Ellucian products, even if with banner updates, the Oz ticket problem system is wonderful for giving, we update and then you see that, and we can add additional individuals on your campus as we go through that upgrade process. If you want somebody else to see those updates, we can add that to the Oz ticketing system. But I will give a shout out to James. We upgraded him during the Christmas break. And now we did give him the, we respected the holiday of Christmas. We didn't give him any updates on that day. But he was right there throughout it. And it does make it important, especially since it was a very heavy lifting from going from the 4X to the 5X environment. So, and hopefully going forth, it won't be so difficult. But again, anytime we do upgrades on Banner, Degreeworks, we really appreciate the user community following those tickets and being there and testing so much. Did you have any, were people upset about maybe some of the localizations, customizations that they had seen in the previous version that's not there now? Especially test scores, the way we used to have a pop-up. We had a customization where it was a separate pop-up window for test scores. Do you have any negative or any positive comments about that from your users?
So far what I've heard mostly from the registrar and then from a couple of the student advisors is they actually like the way the test scores appear on there now compared to the way we used to have. So they like the grouping the way we've got it done now. They prefer it better that way.
Oh, okay. That's great, because what we've grouped before, it was just a kind of like a laundry list of all the test scores that the student had taken. And what we've tried to do for some schools that really test scores are very important, especially for four-year schools with practice. If you have teacher ed programs, we've tried to put that on the responsive dashboard. We've tried to group them where we have the SAT, ACT test scores, and then we have practice. And if you had a specific test score that was unique to your institution, we try to put that on the responsive dashboard. And basically what we're trying to do is right after you have that information about a student, their ID, their degree, their level, the academic standing, then we have it right below that before they get into the actual audit where they see their courses that they have taken and what they need to take.
Yeah, with us, we had ACT grouped together, SAT, and then the AccuPlacer, which we use that for our students. But no, right now they like the way that it was grouped together. So now I'll hear more once I get more of the faculty on there and come this fall. But right now they like the way it looks. They like the feel of it. It's much easier to read than Classic. So far, it's been all positive right now.
Okay.
Of course, we did spend the time working through the bugs and stuff. I mean, as working with our registrar, during the testing phase, he would be popping emails to you and me, say, "Hey, take a look at that, take a look at this." But that's where testing comes in place. If you test it, and then when you go to production, you don't have much tweaking to do.
I know. I think I should have send everybody a T-shirt that says just test, test, test. That seems like that's all I kept. That's what I keep saying for the majority of my day. It's like when I talk to somebody, it's like, did you test that? What were the results and things like that. We even early in this upgrade process, we shared with schools a test plan. Just because a lot of times people ask me, okay, you talk about testing, but testing, what are the things that we should be looking at? And I say, well, let's start with the basics. The URLs that we send you, can you log in to the applications? That's the first thing. What do you see after you log in? And then start navigating, start simulating what you do during the course of a day. Like for the responsive dashboard, you would log in and you would bring up an audit. What do you see? Is it everything that you could see before? Can you click on the links? Can you refresh an audit? Can you process a new audit? So it's just, trying to replicate what you do during a normal day and your production environment into your test. And that's the same thing if you're doing web scribing, if you're doing the course catalog. Can you actually, in your test environment, open it up? Can you add a new scribe block? Can you save it? Does it appear on the student's audit? So it's again, it's just what you normally do in your day-to-day activity. We recommend for individuals to try to simulate as much as problem. Now you said, James, adding new users. The process before was actually, you would contact WVNet and maybe, sending an email, logging a problem ticket, and then we would have to go out to the command line and actually log on to the server and actually issue commands and create that user. So explain how you're doing it now with the new application controller.
Basically, you go into controller, you click on add new user, then it brings up, you put in information, you put in their, for a faculty member, you put in like their and student first name, last name, we put in their Bridge Valley student ID, we put in, I believe, their email, and then when it comes down to the third party ID, if it's a faculty member, I put in what their Active Directory account is, and it matches. And then what I found out, I have to match it exactly case, I believe, also on Degreeworks with what it's on the Active Directory side. Or you put in the third-party ID from the student. Then you get down and sign what permission they are, what they have, set a password, hit save. That's it. I mean, I can do it in about 2-3 minutes. I can create a new advisor, and as Barb said, it would take it would take a while. I'd have to say, okay, Barb, here's the PIDM. I need this done. And then Barb would have to find the time to be able to do it. So, I mean, I didn't expect her to just drop everything and create this one. I was like, okay, I know you're busy. When you get to it, please get this for me. I mean, because I know she's a one-person shop right now. So, it takes a lot of work off of her now that I can create the accounts as I need them.
And I think that's the key. It's not so much that it wasn't an inconvenience for us because we like helping, that's what we're here for, helping the user. But it was something that Ellucian never thought about. They never thought that process of adding a faculty member or adding a student should be done quickly. They assumed that everybody was perfect, that you'd only do it once per semester at the beginning, and then maybe at the end when for the next semester, you might, update accounts. They didn't realize that things change quickly. Personnel changes occur during the year, and you have new faculty taking on different roles, and you want that flexibility. So I am so glad that Ellucian finally realized, and they stopped working, and I call it their perfect university environment. Sometimes I think they forget what day-to-day operations are at a university or at a community college. They're fast, they're quick. You have to do things quickly, and Ellucian sometimes forgets about that. But I see that they finally have realized it, and they added that functionality, which we appreciate very much.
Yeah, I mean, a lot of times, sometimes they hire somebody new. Just because you're an instructor doesn't mean you're advisor. So, or they'll get in going, or they forget to say, "Oh, we forgot to add the advisor to their job description." So they update the system. Well, then, like you said, it's not just beginning semester, end of semester. It's all throughout during the semester, and they really don't pay attention to it until it comes time to advising for pre-registration for the next semester. That's when they start realizing, oh, Johnny and Susie don't have access to do advising. So yeah, that makes my life a lot easier now doing that. And I will tell you right now that we're in the 5X environment, that our registrar has been going through and making changes to Scribe, and then running the transit processes also. So I mean, that is working fine. And actually, starting this week, for the next couple of weeks, he will be doing the scribing of our new catalog for the 21-22 catalog. So he has not seen any issues on that side. But yeah, like you said earlier, Barb, test all the links, because I know we did run into some issues in the test that some of the links weren't working properly. So there has some tweaking had to be done. So test all links. Whenever Barbara gives it to you, test them. Even production, test them.
And again, I'm going to get that T-shirt. Test, and then I'll be going out there in the public, and the people are going to go, "What is she talking about?" One of the things that Ellucian is, as they develop new functionality, they're also trying to bring more integration into Degreeworks. Right now, we have one school, Mount West. I wish they were. I don't think we have anybody from Mount West on the session this morning, but they have the Ellucian product CRM Advise, and we're starting with integration to Degreeworks. I don't know how it works. I mean, that's what I shouldn't. Let me step back and say that I don't know how it works. I haven't seen a demo of CRM Advise to Degreeworks. I've seen the products, each one separate, but I have never seen how CRM Advise pulls in information from Degreeworks. And I'm excited about the project at Mount West. We're just at the very beginning. We're creating those necessary accounts and the necessary pointers into Degreeworks to the CRM Advise. So as we move forth on that project, I'll be sharing some of the findings and how that works, because it's always nice to know Ellucian has additional products out there. But if you buy them, do they work with that whole Ellucian product line? And I'm glad to see that integration is being built into Degreeworks. And one of the things, another product that they're going to be integrating a little bit more is if you have workflow, the banner workflow product. And the third to fourth quarter of this year, Ellucian's going to be releasing another update to Degreeworks that is going to have integration to the banner workflow for petitions, I think is what they're really promoting. A lot of people say, great, I can put petitions into Degreeworks, but what do I do with them? I have a paper process, or I have maybe something homegrown computer system that will take my petitions. How do I integrate that with Degreeworks? Well, now it seems like they've decided that with the Banner workflow product, which is designed to, look at your processes, your day-to-day operations, and streamline those, they're going to incorporate that with Degreeworks in the third quarter. So we're looking forward to that new functionality. So it's going to include, besides just petitions, they're also going to include the SEP plan approval process to that. So for people that are sitting on the fence about the student educational planner, this is the time to start thinking in the 5X. We really need to visit that. I know that during the implementation process, when we originally rolled out Degreeworks, we didn't really look at that. That was kind of a back burner topic, but we have one school right now that's in working with Ellucian. I'll do a shout out to Northern Community College, who's doing a whole look at both full-time and part-time pathways and putting that into the student educational planner. And we're hoping, they're just still right now building those templates, that their findings will be shared with the user community. So we're looking forward to that project as it moves forth. Also in the third quarter, fourth quarter of this year, the next release of Degreeworks, they're going to provide support for individual class registration from CourseLink. Now, CourseLink in Degreeworks is when a student looks at their audit, they click on, and it says, I need, take another course in math, and it's a hyperlink, and they click on it, and it comes up with details about that course. You can have information about the registration for that course, what the open sessions are for that semester, and supposedly they're going to have now where you can click on that course link saying that you need that course. You see that there's several openings. You click on that. That's supposed to be able to take you back and verify things that are in Banner, and you can register for that course. So it's that integration between Degreeworks and the student registration. So tying that all in together is great.